Your life is falling apart, not because of bad luck, not because you're broken, because you're drowning in disorder. Your desk is a mess. Your schedule is chaos. Your mind never stops racing. And every night, you collapse into bed thinking the same thing. Tomorrow will be different, but it never is. You clicked on this video because you're tired. Tired of feeling scattered. Tired of being busy but accomplishing nothing. Tired of knowing you're capable of more but living like you're stuck. And you're here because somewhere inside you, you know the truth. The problem isn't that you don't have time. It's that your life has no structure. By the end of this video, you'll understand something most people never learn. That chaos isn't just uncomfortable, it's stealing your destiny. And the moment you bring order to your life, everything changes. Stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you isn't motivation, it's transformation. I'm going to tell you about someone I knew. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus was talented, educated, capable, full of potential, but his life was a wreck. His apartment looked like a bomb went off. His car was a mobile storage unit. His inbox had 3,000 unread emails. He told himself, "It didn't matter, I'm creative," he'd say. "I work better in chaos." But here's what really happened. He missed opportunities because he lost the email. He showed up late because he couldn't find his keys. He forgot commitments because he never wrote them down. And slowly, people stopped counting on him. Not because he was a bad person, because he was disorganized. That's what chaos does. It doesn't announce itself, it just quietly ruins your reputation, one missed detail at a time. Disorganization is a thief. It steals your focus, your energy, your time, your credibility, and if you let it go long enough, it steals your potential. You wake up every morning with good intentions. Today will be the day. Today you'll finally get ahead. But then the notifications start, the interruptions pile up, the urgency takes over. And by the end of the day, you've moved in circles. Busy, but unproductive. Active, but aimless. That's not living. That's surviving. And most people spend their entire lives this way, reacting to whatever screams loudest instead of creating what matters most. Here's what they don't tell you. The life you're praying for requires a foundation you haven't built. The blessing you're asking for requires capacity you haven't created. God won't pour new wine into old wineskins, not because he doesn't want to bless you, but because blessing without structure leads to collapse. You've seen it happen. Someone gets the promotion they wanted, but their habits aren't ready, their systems aren't built, and what should have been their breakthrough becomes their breaking point. That's why organization isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. Every dream has a weight, and if your life can't hold the weight, the dream will crush you. So before you ask for more, look at what you're managing now. Because the next level doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Picture your bedroom right now. Actually, don't just picture it, feel it. The pile of clothes you'll put away later, the papers stacked on your desk you'll organize tomorrow, the stuff you don't need but can't seem to throw away. Now notice something, that image doesn't just live in your space, it lives in your nervous system. Every time you see that mess, your brain gets a signal. There's more to do. You're behind. You're failing. Even when you're trying to rest. Physical clutter creates mental noise. And mental noise drains you without you even realizing it. But here's what most people miss. Clutter isn't just physical. There are three kinds: physical, emotional, spiritual. And all three are killing you. Let me tell you about Sarah. Smart woman, good heart, stuck life. Her house was spotless, but her heart was a graveyard. She was carrying a breakup from 5 years ago, a betrayal from a friend she still hadn't forgiven, guilt about choices she made in her 20s, regret that played on repeat in her mind. She thought because her space was clean, her life was fine. But emotional clutter doesn't show up on the surface. It shows up in your exhaustion, in your anxiety, in the way you can't seem to move forward no matter how hard you try, because you're dragging weight you won't release. And then there's spiritual clutter, the most dangerous kind. This is the noise that drowns out the voice you need most. The endless scrolling, the comparison, the distraction disguised as connection. You tell yourself you're too busy to pray, too tired to be still, too distracted to listen. But the truth is, your spirit is overcrowded. There's no room for peace, no space for clarity, no silence for the voice that actually matters. And when you can't hear that voice, you start following every other voice, society's, social media's, other people's expectations, until one day you wake up living someone else's life. I know this because I did it. Years ago, my space was clean. My schedule looked impressive. But inside, I was carrying weight. I never dealt with old wounds, unprocessed grief, anger. I called boundaries. And no amount of external organization fixed it, because the real mess wasn't outside, it was inside. So let me ask you something. What are you holding on to that you were never meant to carry? What emotional weight are you dragging into every new season? What spiritual noise are you allowing to drown out your purpose? The first step to organization isn't a planner. It's letting go. Most people think structure is a prison. They hear routine and feel trapped. They hear discipline and imagine losing their freedom, but they have it completely backwards. Chaos is the prison. Disorder is what traps you. Because when your life has no structure, you're not free. You're controlled by distractions, by reactions, by whatever screams loudest. Structure doesn't limit you, it liberates you. Think about the most productive people you know. The ones who accomplish in a week what others do in a month. They're not superhuman. They're structured. They know when they work, when they rest, what deserves attention and what doesn't. That clarity creates momentum. I learned this when I was at my lowest. My life looked busy from the outside, but inside, I was spinning. Every day felt like I was drowning in tasks, but accomplishing nothing. Then someone told me something that changed everything. You don't need more time. You need more structure. At first, I resisted. Structure felt boring. Routine felt restrictive. But desperation makes you willing to try anything. So I started small. Same wake-up time every day. Same morning routine. Same work blocks. And something unexpected happened. My anxiety dropped. Not because my life got easier, but because I stopped making 1,000 decisions a day. The structure made the right choices automatic. And the energy I used to spend deciding what to do next, that became available for creating, for thinking, for actually building something. That's the power of structure. It doesn't kill creativity. It creates the space where creativity can actually breathe. Now here's where this gets deeper. God Himself operates in structure. Look at creation. He didn't speak everything into existence at once. He created in order. Day 1, light and darkness. Day 2, sky and sea. Day 3, land and vegetation. Everything in its proper place. Everything with its purpose. That's not coincidence. That's design. And if the Creator functions in order, doesn't it make sense that we, His creation, function best the same way? Structure isn't about control. It's about alignment. When your life has order, You're not fighting against yourself. You're flowing with your design. Let's talk about the word everyone hates: discipline. It sounds harsh, feels like punishment, reminds you of everything you're not. But I need you to hear this. Discipline isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming free. Free from the chaos of your impulses. Free from the weight of broken promises to yourself. Free from living at the mercy of your moods. Here's what nobody tells you about discipline. It doesn't come from motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes when you feel inspired. It leaves when you feel tired. It's unreliable. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It shows up anyway, not because it's easy, because it's necessary. I remember the first time I really understood this. I was trying to build a morning routine, and every single day, my alarm would go off and I'd think of a reason to skip it. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well. I deserve rest. All valid reasons, but reasons are just excuses in disguise. So I made a deal with myself. For 30 days, I wouldn't negotiate. Alarm goes off, I get up. No debate, no bargaining, just action. The first week was hell. The second week was harder. But by week 3, something shifted. It wasn't that I suddenly loved waking up early. I just stopped arguing with myself about it. And that saved me more energy than the extra sleep ever would have. That's what discipline does. It removes the exhausting internal debate. It trains your body to obey your decisions, not your emotions. And when that happens, everything changes. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You start trusting yourself again. And that self-trust, that's the foundation of confidence. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself because you know what you're capable of. You've proven it to yourself day after day, choice after choice. Now here's the spiritual side. The Bible talks about self-control as a fruit of the Spirit, not a rule, a fruit. That means it grows when you're connected to the source. You can't manufacture discipline through willpower alone. You'll burn out, you'll resent it, you'll rebel. But when your discipline is rooted in purpose, when it's connected to something bigger than you, it becomes sustainable. It becomes life-giving because you're not disciplining yourself to follow rules. You're disciplining yourself because you know who you're becoming. And who you're becoming matters more than how you feel right now. Time is the only resource you can never get back. You can make more money, rebuild relationships, start over in almost any area. But time, once it's gone forever. And yet most people treat it like it's unlimited, like tomorrow is guaranteed, like they have forever to get their life together. But they don't, neither do you. The clock is always running. Your time is your testimony. It doesn't lie about what you value, not what you say you value, what you actually value. You say health matters, but do you invest time in your body? You say relationships matter, but do you invest time being present? You say your purpose matters, but do you invest time developing your gifts? Your calendar reveals the truth. I'll never forget meeting this guy at a conference, successful on paper, but empty in person. He told me he valued his family above everything. They're my world, he said. So I asked him, when's the last time you had dinner with them without checking your phone? He went quiet. Because the truth is, he valued the idea of family, but his time told a different story. Most people's time says they're distracted, scrolling, consuming, reacting, filling empty moments with noise because silence feels uncomfortable. But here's what they're missing. Your greatest work happens in the time you protect. Not the time that's left over, not the gaps between interruptions, the time you guard fiercely, the early morning before the world wakes up, the evening after the noise settles. the focused hours where you say no to everything else. That's sacred time. And if you don't protect it, life will fill it with urgency. Because urgent things scream, important things whisper. And if you're not intentional, you'll spend your whole life responding to what screams while ignoring what whispers. Your health whispers until it screams. Your relationships whisper until they're gone. Your purpose whispers until you wake up one day wondering why you feel so empty. So let me ask you something that might hurt. What's stealing your time that you're pretending isn't? Is it the phone you pick up the moment you're bored? Is it the relationships that drain you but you won't release? Is it the commitments you said yes to out of guilt? Whatever it is, it's costing you more than time. It's costing you destiny. Because every minute you give to what doesn't matter is a minute you've stolen from what does. Motivation gets you started. Systems keep you going. You cannot build a life on feelings. They're too unreliable, too dependent on circumstances, too weak to carry weight. But systems work whether you feel like it or not. Let me show you what I mean. There's a woman I know who lost 60 pounds. Everyone asks her how she stayed motivated. She laughs every time. I wasn't motivated, she says. I was systematic. She didn't rely on willpower to eat healthy. She meal prepped every Sunday. She didn't debate going to the gym. She scheduled it like a doctor's appointment. She didn't keep junk food in the house. She removed the option entirely. The system did the work, not her motivation. That's what makes a good system. It's simple enough to follow consistently, specific enough to create results, and sustainable enough to last. Most people fail because they create systems that are too complicated. They try to change everything at once. They set unrealistic expectations, and when they can't maintain it, they quit. But lasting change doesn't come from massive overhauls. It comes from small, consistent improvements. 1 degree shifts that compound over time. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. You just need to build one good system, then another, then another. Let me make this practical. If your mornings are chaotic, build a morning system, not a complicated routine that takes an hour. A simple system. Wake up at the same time, drink water, 5 minutes of silence, write your top 3 priorities. That's it. 4 steps. But if you do them consistently, your mornings become predictable, and predictable mornings create productive days. Or take your finances. If money always feels tight, build a system. Automate your savings, track your spending, review your budget weekly. Simple, specific, sustainable. You don't need perfect discipline if you have good systems. Because good systems make the right choice the easy choice. They remove decision fatigue. They create a structure that guides you even when you're tired. And here's the spiritual part. God Himself operates in systems. Seed time and harvest, sowing and reaping, seasons and cycles. He doesn't change the rules based on emotions. He establishes principles. And those principles work for anyone who applies them. That's the beauty of systems. They're impartial. They work for anyone willing to commit. They don't care about your past, only your consistency. The enemy isn't laziness. It's not lack of time. It's not even lack of knowledge. The real enemy is perfectionism disguised as preparation. You tell yourself you'll start when you have the perfect plan, when you have the right tools, when the timing is better, when you feel more ready. But that moment never comes, because perfectionism isn't about excellence. It's about fear. Fear of starting wrong, fear of failing, fear of not being good enough. So you wait. And while you wait, chaos grows, clutter piles up, disorder deepens, and the life you're meant to live keeps getting postponed. I used to do this with everything. I'd spend weeks planning the perfect workout routine, researching the ideal diet, designing the optimal schedule, but I never actually started. Because deep down, I knew that starting meant I could fail, and failing meant facing the truth, that maybe I wasn't as capable as I thought. So I stayed in the planning phase, where everything was perfect and nothing was real. Here's what broke me out of it. Someone told me, progress beats perfection. An imperfect system you use beats a perfect system that stays in your head. That hit different, because I realized I was protecting my ego, not building my life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start somewhere, anywhere. Pick one drawer and organize it. Pick one habit and build it. Pick one area and bring order to it. That one small action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence, and confidence creates more action. Before you know it, you're not just thinking about getting organized, you're becoming organized. But you have to start imperfectly, scared, unsure, because waiting until you feel ready is just another way of never starting. And then there's the second enemy, distraction disguised as opportunity. Not everything available to you is meant for you. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every opportunity aligns with your purpose. And if you say yes to everything, you'll end up committed to everything and connected to nothing. Organization requires boundaries, the courage to say no, even to good things, even to opportunities, even to people you care about. Because every yes to something that's not yours is a no to something that is. Organization isn't about perfection, it's about purpose. It's not about control, it's about clarity. And it's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. When you organize your life, you're making a statement. You're saying, my life matters, my time matters, my purpose matters, and I refuse to waste it on chaos. You're declaring that you're done living reactively, done being a victim of circumstance, ready to take responsibility for the life you're building. That's what organization really is. Ownership of your space, of your time, of your choices, of your destiny. And when you do that, something shifts. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You start feeling empowered. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start realizing you're creating it. And that shift from victim to creator, that's when transformation begins. Not because everything's perfect, but because you're finally in the driver's seat. Look at where you are right now. Maybe your life is a mess. Maybe you've tried before and failed. That's okay. This isn't about your past attempts. This is about your next decision. To start again, to try again, to choose order over chaos. One drawer at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. You don't have to change everything today. You just have to start somewhere. And as you bring order to one area, other areas will shift. As you create systems in one part, other parts will align. Because organization is contagious. Order creates more order. Structure creates more structure. Discipline creates more discipline. And before you know it, the life that felt impossible to manage starts to feel possible again. Not because you became a different person, but because you became an intentional one. And intention changes everything. You came here drowning in chaos, but you're leaving with something different. Not a perfect plan, permission. Permission to start messy. Permission to build slowly. Permission to create a life that finally makes sense. The version of you that has it all together doesn't exist, but the version that's intentional does. And it starts today. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, today. Pick one space, build one system, create one habit, and watch what happens when you stop waiting and start building. If this hit you, Don't move yet, because we talked about organizing your life. But here's the twist nobody sees coming. Sometimes the most organized move you can make is choosing not to look like you have it all. The people who look the most polished, often the most broken. And the ones who look simple, the truly free. The next video is called Why Looking Poor is Important. In it, we talk about why chasing the image of success is the fastest way to lose what actually matters. Why looking rich keeps you poor. And why the wisest people you'll ever meet don't look like they have anything to prove. This isn't about money. It's about freedom. Stay with me. The real lesson starts there.